Night. I am Miss Franklin. Like I said, I am a second grade ELA social studies teacher here at Georgia Cyber. And I just want to say welcome, and I hope that you learn a lot tonight, and I hope that we can be very helpful. Tonight, I want to start by talking about some of the most challenging ELA standards that you will see in second grade this year. In ELA writing, in February, we have to take the Write Score assessment. During that assessment, the children will have to read 2 articles, and then they'll need to compare the articles and give their opinion about each of them. They have to choose an opinion on which of the things they would rather do or rather have, and then they have to compare the two, such as I would rather go deep sea diving instead of such and such because. So they have to take the 2 things, they have to compare them, and they have to tell why. So that's a standard that we really would like for you to practice at home as well. Some examples that you could do at home would be, have them compare different things. Maybe if you let them pick dinner for the night, have them, tell which one they want, why do they want that one, and have them explain why they want it. If they have the option between 2 toys or 2 movies or 2, activities, then have them explain which one they choose and then why they chose it. And that will help them a lot with this sort of skill, just to get used to the skill itself. In guided reading, we start really looking at the key details of the text, the who, what, when, where, why. And we really start looking at what's the main idea and what's the supporting details. So as you read, stop as you read and ask your child questions. That's one of the best ways you can practice this skill, especially when character, setting, plot, which, beginning, middle, and end, stop and ask them, okay, who are the characters? Ask them, how is the character feeling? How do you think this character feels about this? So while you read together, stop them, ask questions about what they're reading. And, you can even do this during TV time. If you're watching a movie, stop, ask what the plot is, ask what, the characters are, how the characters are feeling. So you can incorporate this into so many different activities at home. And fortunately, this year in second grade, we actually have 2 ELA blocks. We have one block that's reading, and it will focus on your guided reading skills, our reading standards, and, phonics standards, all those sort of things will go into the guided reading block. The second block we have is called our writing block. And in this block, we will focus on a lot of our language skills and how to become better writers, how to write coherently, expanding sentences. We will learn how to create introductions, create details within a paragraph, a story, informational, give an opinion, and then a really good closing. So we're really excited about this time this year. This is the first time since I've been here that we've had a block specifically set for the writing standards. So we're really excited about that. We will be doing small groups in the guided reading and weekly in writing. So we will be able to work one-on-one with your kids in writing. We're hoping to do breakout rooms in second grade with them and have them writing for us and being able to look at what they've got and give specific feedback to those and help them to just be so confident in their writing. We're going to use you'll see us using some higher order thinking questions. Instead of just an answer. Why do you think that? How did you come to that conclusion? We love to have discussions with the kids. We're going to talk about the things going on. We're going to ask them, why is it important in our life? How do we apply these things to our life? Which we've been doing a lot lately with fables and folk tales and fairy tales. If you've noticed, we've been covering those fables and those morals and lessons, and we've been talking about how does that apply to our life. And we've been having really good discussions with the kids, and they've been given really good examples of applying it to their life and stories and things. We're also going to use a strategy called RACE, and this will be used a lot in our writing. RACE is a wonderful strategy that teaches the kids how to create a constructed response for any writing assignment that they have. The R stands for restate the question. The A stands for answer the question. The C stands for cite evidence from the text. And the E stands for, oh my goodness, explain. That's what it is. Explain your evidence. So explain how what you cited answers the question. So this is a really wonderful way that we're going to use to take our kids in their writing to such a fabulous place. I think we're all going to be excited by the end of the year to see how much our kids will grow in their understanding of the writing process and their understanding of the writing skills. And we're all excited here at GCA to have this writing block and use all these skills that we have provided for us. And we just can't wait to work with your students. And I'm excited to see where the year goes. Sorry, Wynette, I don't see where I'm at.
Okay, it's okay.
Okay. I'm sorry. There's so many of us. If you see me, turn my camera off.
Let me see.
There I am.
Okay, great. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so my portion, I'm going to be talking about the clever apps and resources. So we have a few here listed. We have Education Galaxy, which is more of an online assessment and practice instruction tool. And it helps students stay engaged and focused in learning. A popular one that we do use often is Learning A to Z. That's more of an interactive learning tool where we have stories, we have different resources, and multiple types of content that we can draw out when we're teaching ELA and reading, along with writing skills as well. We also have MobyMax. That's an important one too. It's a personalized kind of blended learning that aids students, kind of like a tool that is adaptive, that can give you more curriculum based on strengths and things that children may need to work on. So it's a great tool to have, and we'll definitely be focused on that as well. We also have Sora, which is a reading app where students are picking books based on assigned books that the teacher set up. So that's another good app where we have different stories where we might want to pull out certain types of content for the children so they can read those once assigned by the teachers. Then we also have BrainPop Junior. That's more of an animated educational site where they have interactive games, movies, quizzes, and other features. And it tends to go over really well with the students. They do enjoy BrainPop Junior a lot because of the animation, and they're still learning at the same time, which is very important in our classrooms. Now, the kids not only learning, but they're also enjoying learning. That's what we want to see our students doing. So that's another popular app that we use, and you'll see it more going through the year. Also with vocabulary, it's a library of songs, videos, and activities for learning. So another fun app and tool that will help us in the classrooms with different ideas and content that we want the children to learn. But it's a fun way of expressing and showing these ideas as opposed to just talking and telling them that this is what we have to learn. We try to use music, videos, books, all of our resources to tie in the learning. So one, they're not only learning, but they're enjoying learning. And as they go through their academic educational careers, they'll enjoy learning more and more because we're making it exciting. We're showing them that you can learn and it can be something exciting, and it can also challenge you. And there are various ways to show that. We also have LearnZillion. That one is more of a research informed, it's more real world content app. And we do use that one, but then I wanted to talk more about some of the more popular ones that we will be using. So you'll see more and more of these coming up as we go through our lessons. And if there's things that you don't understand or things that may seem a little off, you can always ask and we can walk you through it. So these are some of the apps and resources that we use, but we use a ton more, and there'll be more going forward. And as we use them, we'll have discussions on why we're using them and what we're trying to gain by using these apps and resources. Okay.
Hey everyone, I'm Laura Lee Penland, and I am going to talk to you guys a little bit about some of the more challenging state standards for math this year that we'll be covering in second grade. A few of the topics are addition and subtraction, not because they haven't done addition and subtraction before, but because we'll start talking about addition and subtraction with regrouping. We'll start adding in 2, 3-digit numbers, and it can get a little challenging when we start taking addition and subtraction to those places. We'll also talk a lot about place value because that's obviously important when we're teaching regrouping, and it's just a harder concept sometimes to grasp depending on your student and where they are. Like I mentioned, we'll be talking about regrouping and comparing numbers, which is where that place value topic is really going to come in handy. So we're going to be implementing those same high impact practices that Ms. Franklin was talking about in ELA. We'll be using those higher order thinking questions. We'll be using those stems that she discussed just to help kind of get them thinking on another level to bring about that higher order thinking. We'll also be using academic discussion. The way that you'll probably see that the most in our math class is through number talks. And we will be working on evidence-based writing for math. So just like ELA has that RACE strategy, math has something called the RICE strategy that we'll end up using this year. The R stands for restate the question. The I, illustrate or create a picture. The C is calculate, and the E is, of course, explain your answer. We will also be using the vocabulary consistent with Georgia's standards of excellence while we're teaching. That's why maybe you guys notice we were using the word addend this week. And, that's just, we want them to become familiar with the language that they may see throughout their time in Georgia. We will also be using engaging and rigorous platforms to reinforce standards covered in class and work through individualized learning platforms. This year, our main platform is going to be Zern. I know my students really like it so far, so hopefully you guys are seeing that at home as well. We're really excited about implementing Zern and seeing where that takes us and how we get to grow through that program. And then we'll be using MobyMax a lot as well. Just like last year, if you were here at GCA, to reinforce those standards, get some extra practice in that platform. And they have a really great fact fluency section in MobyMax too. Which brings me to practicing at home. So some great ways if you guys want to practice at home are to find virtual place value charts, maybe online. Eventually, you'll also get a math kit if you don't have it already, and you have those place value blocks, which are great to use and help visualize what place value actually means, what these numbers really mean. Skip counting is always great to practice, and fact fluency games are amazing. Fact fluency is my biggest recommendation to practice at home.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Torres. And some of the apps that we use in math are similar to the ones that are used in ELA. We use Education Galaxy, MobyMax, Zern, and those ones we use a lot for enrichment and for remediation. They also have games that are really engaging for students. And we also use vocabulary and Brain Pop Junior. We use it a lot in lessons too. But as you know, they said prior, there are like in Brain Pop Junior, there are games and quizzes and stuff that go along with lessons to keep students engaged and having fun while they're learning.
Hello, everyone. I am Miss Rigsby, and I will be going over the challenging state standards for science. First of all, we have engaged students in questioning, analyzing things around them. This includes using force to manipulate things, such as push and pull. That can be a little hard to understand at this age. So you can practice at home by playing. For instance, pushing a stroller or a grocery cart and then pulling a rope to just kind of reinforce those vocabulary words. Also, studying changing patterns of the moon and the sun and how it affects Earth. And the main thing to remember here is that these changes occur because the Earth is moving. And so, some ways that you can reinforce that at home is to observe the changes in the moon each night. Another challenging one is understanding how heating and cooling changes the properties of materials. A good way to reinforce that at home is cooking. Um, I've always loved to demonstrate making pancakes as a physical change and melting an ice cube as a physical change. Observing changes caused by weather, plants, animals, and humans in the environment. One way you can do this is just being out in nature and getting some good background knowledge in this area and just being kind of being one with the environment and also studying life cycles of different organisms. And we don't get too in depth with this, but we just want to make sure students know that it starts with birth or an egg, and then they grow into a baby or a youth, and then they change into an adult, and then the cycle starts over again. Um, so that's science, and I hope you enjoy it.
There we go. All right. Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me. I'm Miss Climas. I teach math and science here at GCA. And I just want to go over some of the apps that your students will be using for science this year. The other presenters have gone over really well the Moby Max app and the vocabulary app. We love using those with our students when we're working with science. One other app I really want to touch on is Discovery Education. I'm sure you probably have heard of Discovery Channel. It's just kind of like bringing learning to such lovely videos that they show on there, and they have lots of different activities to help extend the learning for our students. The other one I wanted to touch on was Learning A to Z. They have the Science A to Z part of Learning A to Z that your student will be working with. They have things like quick reads and science diagrams and graphic organizers and lots of games for them to work with too to help keep them interested in their learning. And of course we have Sora, which is our huge library. It's got all the books that you could possibly think of that you could read with your students. Education Galaxy, Learn Zillion, and Brain Pop Junior. And finally, vocabulary. Everybody loves vocabulary. They have great songs on there that pertain to the skills that we might be learning in science at that time. But yeah, these apps are really great. And if you ever have any issues about getting on them, please just reach out, and I'm sure any one of us will be able to help you with those apps.
Hello, everybody. My name is Amanda Croy, and I teach ELA and Social Studies. So today I'm going to be going over some of the challenging state standards for social studies. One of the first ones that we're going to be looking at is explain that because of scarcity, people must make choices that result in opportunity cost. This one's sometimes challenging for the kids, realizing that they don't always get everything that they want. You have to pick it. You have to make a choice. If you do one thing, then you don't get to do another thing. So that's a great way you can practice at home, is really talk about and distinguish when people have to make choices. Because I did this and I don't get to do this, kind of talking about those kind of things at home as you're making choices. Another challenging standard is describing the Georgia Creek and the Cherokee cultures of the past, in terms of their tools, clothing, homes, ways they make a living, and their accomplishments, and then comparing them to Georgians today. A great way to talk about that at home and to practice that at home is talking about the tools that they used and how they're different from what we have today. And then one of the last challenging standards is one that we have already covered, and it's locate and compare major topographical features of Georgia and describe how these features define Georgia's surface, such as locating and comparing the regions such as the Blue Ridge, the Piedmont, the Coastal Plain, the Ridge and Valley, and the Appalachian Plateau, and then as well as finding the three major rivers, the Savannah River, the Flint River, and the Chattahoochee River. A great way to practice this at home is to identify the areas where you and your family members live and see if you are anywhere near any of these things, or if you've ever been them and connect them on vacation, or if you've ever been to them and make a connection for the kids.
Hello, everybody. My name is Miss Julie Burnett, and I teach English Language Arts and Social Studies at the Georgia Cyber Academy. And I wanted to go over a few of our clever apps and resources that we use. I'm not going to go over all of them because I think you've heard a lot about all of them. I did want to point out that we use Gallopade in social studies. We've actually used that. We started using that the first week we had assignments that we had to turn in. Gallopade has a lot of information for social studies. It has worksheets on that. We used it for the Georgia Rivers assignment. We used it for the Georgia Regions assignment. It helps us work on like vocabulary builders for our vocabulary words. So that is a resource you'll probably see a lot this year. Also, vocabulary has awesome videos, just like they said. We're going to start using that next week to learn about what we want versus what we need. And we also use Sora. Sora is the online library. I also wanted to point out too, if you have struggling readers in your class, you can use the Mind Play app. We do assign that English language arts. I'm surprised it wasn't on it. I'm sorry if I'm not stepping on somebody's toes. There is the Mind Play app. We use that almost every day in English language arts. It's really good at helping with reading fluency and things like that. We use BrainPop Junior a lot in social studies. They have lots of cute little videos. The students can enjoy them. So that's the resources.
How are y'all doing? I'm Coach Whitley. I'm the PE teacher. I'll be covering both art and PE for tonight. So the art standards that we're going to be covering, they're going to understand and apply media, techniques, and processes of two-dimensional art. Ways that they can practice at home, they can draw from their imagination, real life, or high-quality instructional videos. And they can ask Miss Gunter for video recommendations. Oh, so practices at home. They can draw their favorite cartoon character. They can look at a flower, something like that. Now for PE, we're going to be working on their motor skills. We're going to demonstrate competency in a variety of motor skills and movement patterns. And we're also going to recognize the value of physical activity for health and enjoyment. We're going to challenge and also for self-expression and for social interaction, playing sports just because. It's going to be a fun year.
Hey everyone, my name is Mrs. Beasley. I'm your second grade math and science teacher, and I'm going to talk a little bit about our state assessments. We do have one in particular coming up the week of September 13th through the 17th. It's our interim assessment. IA is what we call it. So there's really no particular way to prepare, just kind of taking in all the information that they've learned so far and being able to apply it. So everything that the teachers have mentioned thus far, or with the resources that we have to offer, you would definitely want to kind of brush up on those resources and do a little bit of like pre-studying, just familiarize yourself with our standards and apply what you know. This is interesting because a lot of times the second graders or students depend on us to read for them, to read the questions. And in this case, we cannot. They would have to read them independently as far as being able to comprehend what is asked of them. So, of course, it's very similar to what we did in the beginning of the year with MAP. We also have a couple of different maps that come up each year, August, December, and May. I believe I am also in charge of the next slide. So with our interim assessment week schedule, we will only be testing Monday through Thursday. So of course, like last time, you will join your homeroom and then testing starts at 8:25 sharp. You would go ahead and get that testing time in from 8:25 to 11. And of course, we want to give you a lunch. Definitely want to have a lunch. And then your live classes will resume at 12:55 until the end of the day. And then Friday schedule, just like it was with MAP, is the regular schedule. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Teresa Gines. I'm the new ELA and Social Studies teacher here at GCA. I'm really excited to be here. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to monitor your students' progress. Remember, just keep in mind that all students are working from a Canvas module. Assignments are listed by day. Some of them may not be on the calendar. We do try and keep up with them, but I know some of them show up on the calendar and some of them don't. We just don't want to overwhelm you guys. So we're trying to keep it simple. And we also want the students to be able to learn to navigate the Canvas modules. So there is graded work that does go in the grade book that is required. And then there is daily work that is strongly suggested. So kind of look at it like as having homework or extra practice. It's an important optional resource. FLVS lessons are daily work. It is okay if your student is unable to complete every page of a lesson each day. Again, it's just kind of practice. It's like a reinforcement. It's a great tool to use just to be able to have those things to practice. And of course, every day your child will need materials for class. So we do let them write and draw on the whiteboard, and they should have writing journals and paper. So for every class, especially for writing, we do definitely need those journals for writing, but I encourage my students to have them for language arts and social studies, and trying to teach them how to kind of take notes. We're learning some standards in social or in language arts right now, where there's rules that apply. We're learning about, plural nouns. And there's a lot of rules for plural nouns, but there is always exceptions to the rules. So sometimes you just have to take notes and trying to teach the children to memorize, those irregular nouns that stay the same, or those irregular nouns that are spelled differently. So it's always good to have, notes for class. So we're trying to teach them even in second grade. Some basic note taking is always helpful, and just kind of writing things down as we're teaching. So it's always good to have those materials for class. And I think I am the last presenter of the day. So I think we are opening up the end here for questions.
Yes. Thank you, second grade families. I hope that you enjoyed hearing from your teachers. They did a great job sharing tonight. Ms. Franklin and Ms. Graham shared some wonderful information for ELA, and Ms. Penland and Torres shared some math resources and challenging standards for you in that area. And Ms. Rigsby and Ms. Climas, thank you so much for sharing for for science. I know that was useful information for our parents. And Ms. Croy and Ms. Burnett for social studies, thank you. Mr. Whitley, thank you for stepping up and sharing for art and PE as well. And Ms. Beasley, thank you. You and Ms. Gines for sharing our state and Georgia Cyber Academy assessments and also how to monitor their progress. Very useful information. Good job, ladies and gentlemen. I know our families really appreciate that information. So at this time, we're going to open up for question and answers. The way we want to do this is I want you to raise your hand, parents, as you have a question, and Ms. Franklin is going to help manage the hand raises. So when Ms. Franklin calls your name, then you're free to come onto the mic and ask your question. And Ms. Penland, she's going to help me answer these second grade curriculum questions that you may have. But if you have a question for your specific teacher, feel free to call out their name and they'll come on camera and come on mic and answer your specific question. If you don't know your teacher's name and the question is just more a general broad question, Ms. Penland or I, one, will jump in and do the best we can to help you. So, Ms. Franklin, are you ready with the hand raises?
I am.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you. Go ahead when you're ready. Do you have any hands raised?
Oh, I'm looking at where we are. I'm popping up right up under my name.
There you go.
All right. We have Danielle W.
I have a question about the homework that we're doing that's not graded, the non-graded work. I know it's only day 4, and
I'm so sorry, Danielle. We seem to have lost you.
Okay, we can come back to Danielle.
Yeah, so Jack S.
I was trying to read it. Okay, can you hear me clearly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, my question is, what is a good way, and this might apply to a lot of parents, a good way to help the kids really get the knowledge in other than repetition for facts 1 through 10 and combination numbers? Because we have constantly gone over them over and over, but they're not sticking. So I was wondering what would be a great way to really get that in there. Is there advice?
Sorry, I turned my mic on and then turned it off. Yeah, I would just suggest, I know that repetition and it not sticking right now is so frustrating. Maybe if you could try, seeing if there is maybe a different online form of like a fact fluency game that might be more fun or a different way to go over those same facts. You may already be using the fact fluency feature in Moby Max, but I tell all my parents to use that. And I typically see progress pretty quickly with addition and subtraction facts. So yes, that repetition is frustrating, but it'll click. Maybe just hopefully we can see if we can find a more engaging way for your student to practice those.
And also think about when you say repetition, are you doing like per pencil? Are you, some kids don't learn that way. For my daughter, she's what we call a kinesthetic learner. Like she would do jumping jacks, and that's how she learned hers. And then another thing that I used to do with her was to take like a baking pan and pour salt in it, and then I would have her write it out in the salt and and say it as she wrote it, and the textile helped. So I saw more progress with her with things like making her move and jump and do things while she was doing the while she was working on them. So I don't know if that's something you'd like to try too.
And this is something I've used with my students in the past as well. I'm Miss Stowers. I'm an ELA social studies teacher, and putting shaving cream on a flat surface, and just like Crystal had said, Miss Franklin had said, drawing it in the salt is a great idea, but even drawing it in the shaving cream makes it more fun and, like she said, kinesthetic. So for those kids who are hands-on learners, this is a great way for them to write out the facts, just like with the salt.
This is perfect. This is right up my alley because I need to use my hands to communicate. So this is good for us. So this is perfect. Thank you so much. And I want to thank Miss Rigsby because she has been trying to help me with this too. And she was also like, she's going to try to help me come up with ideas as well. And we've both been trying to bounce it back and forth. And finally, I was like, she brought up, she's like, we'll figure this out. And I was like, yeah, this meeting, let's go for it. So here we are. Thank you so much, everyone. Where?
Uh-oh, Crystal, we couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Do we want to try Danielle W again?
Yeah. I just said thank you, and thank you to Miss Rigsby as well. She's also helping me. And thank you to everyone because I communicate with my hands, so your suggestions is a big help. I hope that worked.
Hi, thanks. You guys hear me now? Okay. The reason you couldn't before is because my son is still on my computer, still doing his homework. And that's what my question was, is I know it's only day 4. And in his brick and mortar school, he was advanced, so he knows how to do the work. But the past 4 nights, except for maybe an hour break for dinner, the homework, like all the modules, he's literally been working until bedtime without a break and working in the 10 and 5-minute breaks between class. And I just wanted to know, like, what the expectation is, because at 7 classes a day, it's taking him to do all the things within the modules and the tasks per night so far. And I didn't know if the expectation is to fully do them or only do it if you are having trouble with something, because it's a lot of homework. Can you clarify that?
Can we ask what subjects are the most daunting?
Oh, I mean, he's on like a language arts one right now that's 29 pages on the flip module. And it's not that it just takes, I mean, he sits there and reads through it all himself and with the print offs, but by the time, for 7 classes every day, by the time he prints off all the paperwork for every module. And
Oh, no, I'm so sorry. You said that this is your 4th day?
Yeah.
We don't do all the printed pages in the modules. And if you look on the module, it will tell you what pages we are doing for that day in the module. We don't do all the pages. If you look, there's a daily ELA listed in the module, and it will say like read pages 1 through 9, or, you know. But if we ever want anything printed, we will make sure that you know to have it printed. So as far as, and I know in math too, right, Laura, that we don't do all of the printed pages that come with the FLVS. And we don't even do the writing portion that comes with FLVS. We do our own writing based on the Georgia standards and the right score assessment that we have to take. So I am so sorry if you were not aware of that. But I hope that makes you feel better.
Okay. Yeah, that clears it. So as long as he's doing like the graded things, and if he understands the content, maybe he doesn't need to do the, what do you call it, FLVS or something. If he already knows how to do it without doing that or gets it from class, it's more like to help him if he needs help. Okay.
And especially in math, like once he gets into math a little more, you'll probably notice a lot of the parts of the FLBS presentation, if he came to his live class, we did that in live class. So it's really there as a resource, a really good resource for you guys if you are struggling with a concept or want extra practice. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't be worrying about printing all of those pages and working on those practice assignments unless you feel like that's something that would be beneficial to your student.
Okay, that's great news. And one more thing, you guys mentioned a math kit earlier, and I either missed the details on that. Is that something we're supposed to order, a math kit?
No, it'll be sent to you. I think the last I heard was they're delayed, of course. But I think the last I heard, I don't know, Dr. Bishop, do you know? I thought it was like mid-September. So it won't be arriving for a while. And there might be a delay since you said this is your 4th day here. Mm-hmm. But it's a really cool kit when you do get it. There's like math manipulatives and stuff, but this is nothing you have to do. It'll just arrive on your doorstep one day.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact date either off the top of my head, but I know that's a couple of weeks out for shipping. But you should be receiving it sometime soon, hopefully.
Okay, thank you so much.
Brenda.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. Can you hear me? Okay. My student, how will I find out who his teacher is?
Did you start recently?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a lot of different ways. The easiest would probably be, I like to tell my parents to look in Canvas. Has your FEL sent you information on how to get started in Canvas?
I don't think, not as yet. I'm supposed to speak to somebody, I think tomorrow. I called her today and left a message, so.
I'm sure that's your FEL, and your FEL will have all sorts of like great tutorials and ways to help you kind of get acclimated. And once you're in Canvas, I like to tell my parents, I feel like that's the best place to look. When you're in your students' Canvas, you'll be able to see their courses, their teachers, their schedule, their assignments, everything will be in Canvas. But your FEL will be a great point of contact for all of those questions and getting you started and getting you in class.
Okay. This is, I guess he's just starting. He just finished his math test today.
Yes.
So, what's the first day of school for them?
So we've already started, but and Dr. Bishop, you might have to correct me if I'm wrong. I think your FEL will let you know when you guys are able to log into classes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes, we have several different start dates for groups of students who have started later in the year. So we have groups that start each Monday. So your FEL, once your student finishes testing, your FEL will tell you exactly your start date and get you your schedule and your teachers and all that. They're great. They'll fill you in with everything that you need.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate the answers.
Okay, Miss Beverly. Beverly W. All right, what about Ish?
I don't think we quite heard you, Crystal.
Thanks. I'm trying to keep my mic off because of feedback. Beverly.
Yes. This is Beverly.
Did you have a question, ma'am?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, yes. My granddaughter just started. She's very frustrated in class. She tries to type her answer, but she really doesn't know how to type, and she can't get it typed fast enough. And by the time she gets it there, the teacher has already locked it, and she has the answer and wants them to know she knows the answer, but doesn't get the chance.
My suggestion would be, honestly, if it's a matter of her typing, just practice. We have some apps on Clever. I think that are Nitro Type is one. There's some free typing games out there. If you Google free typing games, I would just say to get her caught up with that. As far as becoming a quick typer would be to practice. As far as her teacher goes, I would reach out to her teacher and explain how, just how she's feeling. And then y'all can work from there on getting her more comfortable and less frustrated with answering in class.
Well, I have done that, and I've been with her in class. Does it get better? I mean, it seems like it's very disorganized right now.
It does get better. It's a lot. It's a lot at the beginning of the year for all of the students and for all of the teachers. And there's just a lot going on and a lot to get used to, a lot of platforms. And it does get better, a little bit each day. One other thing I've noticed some of my students do, if I lock the chat and they want me to know about their answer, they direct message me the answer. And then I'm able to see it when I have a chance and see that they got the right answer, see that they let me know that they got the right answer, they understand why they missed it. So she can always direct message her teacher as well, because that's never locked.
She does do that. See, it's so, I don't know, I guess it's so dysfunction. I tell her to listen to the teacher and don't go off, and when we're finished with school, I just go back and do the work with her because she has not understand anything that's went on in this classroom.
That's something that definitely reach out to the teacher and let them know. But we're also going to be implementing small groups soon if your teacher hasn't already. And that'll be a way that it sounds like we'll hopefully be able to reach her a lot easier and in a smaller group where she's able to get some more closer to one-on-one instruction with the teacher.
Because last year I was her teacher, we did not allow her to go to school because of the COVID. In her school, only they were on the computer 30 minutes in the morning, long enough to give her all of her assignments, and that was it. I was her teacher, so I think she's kind of used to that and the way I did it, and she's having a hard time with this.
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment, and we hear that a lot from people coming from virtual schools throughout the state of Georgia. We hope and we feel that that live instruction from the teacher actually takes kind of some of that burden off of you and helps them understand more. So hopefully, as she gets used to how each day goes and how our classes work, and working with her teacher, how she can communicate with her teacher. Hopefully, it'll actually help you guys and help take some of that burden off of you, and help her learn even more effectively.
Thank you.
Okay, Ishmael, do you have a question for us? I'm sorry, let me try again. Ishmael, do you have a question for us? I don't know if he stepped away. Okay, Danielle, do you have a question?
Yes, I have a question about how the parents are supposed to see what is supposed to be assigned or what the students are supposed to be doing each day, because under the to do, like on the app, I don't ever see anything, and it's just like, is there a central location that all the work is, or do you have to go into each individual classroom to see what's going on?
You do have to go into each individual class. If it's not on your calendar, the easiest thing that I would say would be to look at their modules in each class. On Monday morning, there is a work module in each class session, and it has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and underneath each one, it has exactly what the kids are supposed to do that day.
And how do you know what is a graded work and what is just extra work?
It says it. It'll say graded assessment, graded extended coursework, graded coursework. So it will, the first word of the assignment says graded.
Okay, thank you.
And the graded work kind of is in the central location. If you go to your calendar, your graded work appears on your calendar on the day it's due. But for those other assignments, you'll need to go into the modules like Ms. Franklin was saying.
So on my calendar, I don't have anything at all showing.
No, you need to be in your student's account. Like it won't work in your parent account.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
And also make sure that on the right-hand side of your screen that you have the calendars checked for the subjects that your student is in. I know we've had issues with parents not seeing things come up on the calendar, and that's because the little box beside the calendar is not colored in. So make sure that that calendar is colored in for that subject so that it will show on the calendar, your student calendar.
Good to know. Thank you.
Ismail, do you have a question?
Hey, Ishmael, your mic's on. Do you have a question?
You had the camera on. You can hear me?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you.
I don't know. See, I have my camera on because I have like a touch in the. But I've been new in the system. I'll be a little bit lost in with the with everything we need to do. Um, when I want to know when my son going to be in what classroom exactly, or going to be in the second grade room too.
Did you say you just started? You're brand new. You've taken that MAP test probably?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so you will have someone called a FEL, a Family Engagement Liaison, that you're probably already familiar and emailing with. They will set you up and give you instructions for how to take that MAP assessment. And once that is taken, they will also show you how to log into our systems, our Canvas, our Jigsaw, and get you guys scheduled into your classes.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
Hey, Samantha, do you have a
Yes, it's actually Linda, Samantha's Dakota's mother. We've been going over her. She just started, first of all, yesterday, and we seem to be so lost. Just like on modules, when we go to modules, it says complete 1.04. We don't even know where to look for 1.04. We're like totally lost. And then when like some of the science work she had today, I even had my 5th grade granddaughter look at it and say, I don't know. And it's asking her questions on stuff she has absolutely no idea. She hasn't done any of this work. It's like we were just plopped into a classroom with no knowledge of what to do. We're just totally lost, and she's getting aggravated. She finished school last year, top of her class. So she is a smart young lady. We worked through the summer with her school. It's very important to me and to her. And for her to be to the point of crying because she doesn't know the answers to some of the stuff that she is trying to work on is heartbreaking. We're just total loss.
I would suggest again reaching out to the individual teachers. I know with some of my new friends that have been coming in, we have this wonderful tool called Securely where we can view the students' desktops if they're on a GCA computer. And I have been working with mine, after class, before class, watching their screen and helping them walk through this and go here and look right here. So reach out to the teacher and then maybe they can help you guide you through that and show you exactly where the things are. And then with science, unfortunately, I don't teach science, but I would ask her teacher about that too, whatever the assignment was.
Yeah, it just seems so difficult. I mean, I'm sure if she would have been in class whenever they discussed what she's trying to answer now, maybe she would know.
Did you say you said it was your first day, right?
Today was her second day.
Her second day. Okay. Well, and that's the other thing. And whenever you reach out to your student's teacher, they'll say the same thing. Like, I feel like you're putting way too much pressure on yourself on the second day. It's so overwhelming. There's so many new things to catch up with. There's such a learning curve. It's all going to become familiar and become second nature to you. And there's a lot of grace for her starting today and not being familiar with the content yet. We all know that. We understand. We've got kids starting next Monday, so we're used to that.
Yeah,
Don't panic.
I think it's just that feeling of being like plopped into the circle of everybody knowing what's going on and we don't, and she's just getting very overwhelmed. She loves school. I don't want that to change. I mean, it's only second grade. She's got plenty of years to decide she don't like school. Okay. I just don't want to see it in second grade because she's actually one who loves to learn. But when we were trying to do some homework today, she was just totally overwhelmed. And I told her, I said, look, we'll just worry about this when we get 3 weeks into the school and we still don't know how to do it.
Also remember too that the sessions that the teachers teach are recorded. So if they go back in Jigsaw and she needs to watch the recording of that lesson, you can go back to the recorded sessions and pull those up, and she can watch the lesson that was taught to help her with that as well.
And you're doing.
And let me reassure you. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say you're doing a great job just getting her into Jigsaw on day 2. That's a lot. Like,
let me tell you, it was
longer to get
a weekend worth of oh, well, Dakota, come here. So I told her, I said, look, I'm learning right along with you. And I said, and it's going to take time. She's just so used to diving in and knowing. And I think she's feeling a little overwhelmed. But okay, as long as I feel like we're moving on the right track, we'll start getting used to this. And I just didn't want her to fall behind because she's already what I feel a little bit behind starting later in the year.
And especially in science and social studies, if she gets confused in social studies, those standards, we just don't have a lot. So we spend so long on those. Definitely don't worry about those two.
Okay, good. Because, yeah, we'll get there. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't missing something. So it'll just take some time for us to get used to a whole new system. I taught her last year. We did an excellent job. I'm doing it this year. Enjoy watching how her brain works. So we'll just take it from here a little bit at a time. And I appreciate your help. Thank you.
And definitely don't feel like everybody else knows what's going on, and you do, because like we said, we have new friends coming every single day. So a lot of them so take a deep breath and it will all be okay.
All right, thank you.
Families, also, if you'll look in the chat, an attendance link has been posted. So if you're waiting and listening, if you're waiting your turn for a question, feel free to go ahead and fill out the attendance link so we'll have record that you are here tonight, please.
Let's see, Tanya.
Good evening, all. One thing to say to the parent that was just speaking, I totally understand. Leilani started a week after, and unfortunately, she was supposed to start the 16th, which was a Monday. We did not get a schedule until Thursday. So, and the only schedule that we had prior to that was for her electives. So I just made sure she went to the electives, which was good because she got a feel, because it's different. She got a feel, and the energy from those teachers were phenomenal. So needless to say, right now, she's loving the elective classes more so than the core. But I will say this is just from me as a parent giving to the teachers as far as feedback. For those students that are starting late, what will be a great thing to do is once you have students added on, try to do a one-on-one, set up a one-on-one meeting with the parent or whoever their learning coach is, as well as with the student to kind of say hi, because they are coming in late. So the feeling of, oh, I gotta get caught up, oh, I'm behind, it actually gets overwhelming, especially if you have students like she just mentioned, as well as my daughter, where I'm a stickler. We're a stickler for education. We do not turn in things late. If you have 5 assignments, I'm sorry. If you do not get playtime after school, schoolwork comes first. Education comes first. That is what we're here for. So of course, you give them other times, but if they're used to excelling, if they're used to being at the top of their class, yes, it becomes at a point, it becomes an emotional breaking point. So when they are in class, they're not as attentive, they're not as engaging, and they're not up to their full potential. One thing that that her teacher did, Miss Stowers, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, during our first day, she put Leilani in a breakout room and she took a moment to say hi. So that made her comfortable because as she know, her thing was, okay, mommy, everyone's been here. She knows everyone. No one knows me. And at their age, we're laying a foundation. So if the foundation is good in the beginning, it actually sets the stage for the progression of the year. So it's just feedback that for all of those that are just starting, if you can just take a moment to say, to chit chat, and to also, I don't know at the beginning of the year if it was a breakdown to explain how the modules work. What do you need to do? How do you need to work them? Because I actually sent emails, and one of her teachers, Miss Climans, was great. I said, hey, can we talk? Even though she's late coming in and they're on assignments that you all are excusing them for. Like I said, we're sticklers. So Leilani's looking at this list. Mommy, I need to do this, do this, do this, even though it's excused, but she still wants to do it. So I had to kind of feel my way through to understand, okay, the modules, you go here, you do this. Okay, this is due this day. This is not due, and what is due. So like I said, I don't know the first week of class, the first day or two of class, if those things were, communicated and say, hey, this is how it works. When you go here, this is what you do every day. Because she's thinking, I'm in class. Once class is over, okay, where's my homework? What am I supposed to do? So just to help the new people like myself to get acclimated with the whole no brick and mortar setup.
And that's where the champ checkpoints come in too. So kids who, friends who start later in the year, we have those champ checkpoint modules set up. And it's not like graded for them. It's just a checkpoint and lessons for them to go through so that they can feel like they're kind of caught up with that as well. But Leilani's off to a great start.
Yes, but and to say this is my first time doing school this way, it's great. We had virtual last year due to the pandemic, but the systems that you all use and everything, and because I work for AT&T and I'm into the whole technology thing with the internet or what have you, I'm used to this. This is what Leilani is accustomed to, and it's smooth. It really is. Once you understand, it's great. I just want to say that. That's my good thing going there too. So we'll get through it. First month of school is rough and rocky. So that's why I say we all work together as a team. That's what I teach her. Teamwork makes the dream work. So
it's a true learning curve. And the more you're into the systems and the more you're working them, the easier it gets.
It does. So thank you.
All right, Danita.
Hey, Danita, we can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So my son was supposed to start Monday, but we didn't get his classes schedule until Thursday. Now, when we go into Nucleus, it's showing that he is missing like 13 hours. But then, the individual days, it's only showing like 25 minutes or so that he has to make up for his time on some days. And then some days it shows that he's, completed the time required. Um, is there someone in particular I need to reach out about that, or a teacher, or how would I go about making sure that his attendance is appropriate?
I know from the teacher side, we are not familiar with Nucleus enough to help in those sort of situations. I do know that the FELs are having sessions, and if you'll give me a second, because I made a copy of it, they are having sessions every day for Nucleus help. Let me get it pulled up. I'm sorry. They have sessions every day, every morning from 10 to 11, every evening from 4 to 5.
I added
So
Crystal. I added the link in the chat there. So if you follow that link, then that will get you in with the Nucleus Help Team, and they can help you get that resolved.
All right, is that it for questions?
I don't see any more hands up.
Do we go back to the main?
Well, that I'm not sure of, honestly. I think we're finished from here. Thank you all for your time. We appreciate you joining us tonight. I hope that you've learned a lot. And if you will remember to complete that attendance link, we will appreciate that. And if you don't get to it today, Veronica will send that out to your in your email, so you'll have another opportunity to fill that out there. But thank you so much. We appreciate you spending time with us this afternoon, and we love having your kiddos and hope that you are having the best experience at Georgia Cyber Academy.
Well, I'm glad it was, Jack. I'm glad y'all came, and I'm glad we were able to help.
We also want to say thank you to the learning coaches. You guys are phenomenal, and we appreciate your help and support.
Oh, thank you, Matthew. I love it having Ikenna. He is so precious.